The Ministry of Education says it has commenced investigations into allegations that 22,000 bags of expired and repackaged rice were distributed to senior high schools across the country in February this year. This allegation was leveled against buffer stock by the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. In an interview with ChannelOne News, the spokesperson for the ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, indicated that it would thoroughly investigate the matter. We're joined by the Executive Director of Education think tank, Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, to speak on this matter. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Asare. First, we had food shortage in our senior high schools, now expired goods. What exactly is happening with regards to food in our senior high schools?
Well, I don't think anything new or strange is happening. The issue in question is not a current issue, it's an old issue. I mean, for us in the sector, this is no news. First quarter this year or last quarter last year, that's when news of this, broke out. The FDA has a mandate to ensure that breaches of the Public Health Act, are addressed. So the FDA, I'm told, waded in and conducted its investigations, based on which some sanctions, were meted out to the erring actors. The FDA has been conducting regular visits to senior high schools. Sometime last year, the FDA discovered in some schools in the northern region the presence of expired mackerel and other foodstuff in their kitchens. And so when they discovered them, they seized them. And so far as I'm concerned, this is an issue that is not. It is not. It is no news. Okay, it's an issue that belongs to history. And that is why I am a bit surprised that the PR of the ministry is indicating that the ministry is concerned about it and it has launched investigation about it. I'm a bit surprised. Everybody knows this, For me, what the ministry should be concerned about is to follow up on the report the FDA did on this particular issue, and then the recommendations in that report. Follow up to ascertain whether the buffer stock, FDA, the buffer stock suppliers, and all other actors within the food supply chain have been complying with the FDA recommendations since they made them, about 2 quarters ago. For me, that's the most important thing here. But in terms of the act, the rice has already been consumed long ago. So we must rather be concerned about putting in place the institutional mechanisms, quality assurance, compliance, and most importantly, warehouse security recommendations that were made in the report, so that we forestall the occurrence of this. That, for me, should be the focus of the interest of the ministry, and not going to investigate what has already been investigated by the FDA.
So, Mr. Asare, if I understand you correctly, this situation has been investigated, recommendations have been made, but they're not being implemented.
That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that my information is that the issue has been investigated in the past. Recommendations have been made by the regulatory body responsible for ensuring that the right things are done, that's the FDA. So if the ministry is interested in following up, if the ministry is interested at all, it should rather be interested in following up on the recommendations that were made by FDA, finding out the extent to which they have been implemented by buffer stock and other actors within the food value chain. That is where the ministry's interest should be, and not investigating what has already been investigated.
So you're not satisfied with the Education Ministry's stance that they are now going to investigate the matter?
The matter has already been investigated by the FDA, which is the legal authority to investigate food issues relating to the repackaging of foodstuff and allegations of expired goods. So if FDA has investigated and pronounced, the ministry's interest should be in ensuring that the findings and recommendations of the FDA are implemented to strengthen the system to ensure that there's quality assurance in the food value chain for senior high schools. That should be the focus of the ministry's interest, in my humble opinion, and not to go and investigate what has already been investigated. As I'm saying, this issue is not news. It's not news. What will be news to us is the extent to which the ministry, Food and Drug Authority, the suppliers, buffer stock, have been able to implement the recommendations that were made by FDA since then, and the extent to which implemented recommendations have strengthened food security, quality assurance, and compliance systems, not only in the warehouses, but also in the entire value chain. I mean, in the entire food value chain, both at the free senior high school level and the Ghana school food level. That, for me, should be the news. But this particular issue, it's no news.
Mr. Asari, thank you very much for speaking to us. We appreciate your time.